This is Sandra M. Urquhart, the Muscle Whisperer, and I wanted to I wanted to explain to you partly why I'm focused on pain, but also a little bit about the aspects of pain that I'm going to be talking about. And I just want everybody to know and to understand that I am a Christian, but I'm going to be talking to everybody because pain affects everyone, whether you're Christian or not, whether you're, gay, whatever it is that you believe in or focus on. Uh, Pain affects you and it affects us all basically in the same ways. So I'm saying all of this because I want it to be understood that there's going to be times when you're going to hear me making references to scripture. You're going to hear me making references to biblical stories or to things about God that I know and I understand. And I make those references because I'm trying to explain to you a principle about pain. I'm trying to explain a principle that that particular story or that particular scripture like hits it the nail right on the head. It defines it extremely well, or it's an example, like say the law of attraction of what a thing is or how to do a thing. And the scripture would be the best way. The scripture or the story, biblical story, might be the best way to help break down what I'm trying to say and help you gain a better understanding. And believe me, I draw stories from other things too, but I just wanted to clarify that one point, just for people who might think that I'm just going to sit here and preach. No, I'm not preaching. I'm attempting to educate, and I'm the information that I'm going to be giving you is based upon largely upon my experience as an LMT. I'm licensed, and my focus has not been working in a spa or doing regular massage type work. My focus has always been pain and releasing it. And as I have progressed in my experience in my career as a massage therapist, under my license, I have steadily been moving away from the standard massage techniques and the standard massage because I don't find it to be as effective for a pain problem as what I currently do. It falls under the same. It falls under the mantle. Let's call it that. It falls under the mantle of my license, most definitely. But my perspective is very, very different. And it's because of the focus that I have. There are millions of people all over the world that are suffering from pain. And in my opinion, they suffer needlessly. And in my opinion, the Western, at least Western medicine, is oftentimes very ineffective in addressing it. And half the time, people are almost laughed out of doctors' offices. They're told that it's all in their mind. Because once the doctors, utilize their machinery to try to figure out what's going on with you, if the machinery and the technology can't give them the answers, they don't know. So because of that, they basically just write you off and say that you are imagining it, it's all in your mind, or you're making it up, and you have people around you. I know with people with fibromyalgia in particular, a lot of their family or friends or people that they know don't believe them that they're suffering and don't believe that they're having pain. And it comes to a point where, you know, I guess it's like a old record that's repeating. People don't want to hear it anymore. So I said all this to let you know that I'm going to be talking about various aspects of pain. And since pain is an all body situation, a whole body situation, we have to go back to the origins of it. We have to break down the patterns of it. We have to examine the behavior that causes it. and the lifestyle that causes it. And there's various behaviors, and there's various lifestyles, and there's various thought patterns and physical patterns, and there's a lot of variety and variables in what causes pain. So what I'm here to do is basically help you decipher that for yourself. I'm here to basically guide you into thinking about and assessing what it is you're doing that's causing pain in your life, that's bringing that pain into the picture. Because most pain that people experience, it is self-inflicted, and we're just not conscious of it. We're just not conscious of what we're doing that's bringing that pain into our lives and causing a change in our physical chemistry, our physical biology. The things that we do to harm ourselves, half the time we're not even aware of it. So I'm going to be talking about it on a spiritual level, on a mind level, and on a body level, because pain comes through all three aspects of a person's personhood. It develops in the spirit first. It transfers or starts translating over in the mind. Once it enters the mindset and the belief system, that's when it's coming from your belief system, number one, but once it enters into your thought patterns, that's going to start dictating your behavior, and subsequently your behavior is going to start dictating the manifestation of it in your body. I don't know if that's making sense to anybody. I hope it is. I'm trying to be clear about this. And as I go in my videos and in my audios, and as I start to try to break this down and explain it, I'm hoping that you're going to get a much better understanding, a much clearer understanding about how pain is manifesting. That's the first thing that we have to talk about, is how it's manifesting. And then the next thing to go to is, how do we address it? How do we eradicate it, or how do we manage it? Because some pain, it's so far gone, like it's been happening for so long, that you may not be able to fully eradicate it, but you can manage it. Okay, your structure may have been altered according to whatever it is that you've been doing that's caused this pain, that's manifested it. It could be an imbalance, and that could have caused the structural alteration. But whatever it is, if it has become chronic, if it has moved into a stage where your structure has been altered, and a lot of time has passed, then it's possible that you cannot eradicate it, and you will have to learn to manage it. In most cases, it is a management situation, because most everybody has imbalances. Okay, I'd say 98% of the population has at least one imbalance in their body, and because of that imbalance, everything else is affected. So the key is to finding the imbalance, number one, and figuring out what factors are causing the imbalance. Like I said, there's so many variables of this to discuss, and I'm so happy to be finally in a place where I can get to share these things with you guys, because like I said, I see too many people suffering. I hear about it. I see it on the internet. People are out there searching for pain relief methodology and just answers. And I know that from the standpoint of the so-called medical professionals, I may not seem like much of a person to talk about this, or I may not seem like the go-to person for this, or that I know that much, but I'm hands-on. That's the difference between what I do and what doctors do. Doctors are not really hands-on. they are up to a point, but predominantly they're viewing your body through the eyes of a machine, and the machine is telling them, well, this is what I see, but the machine is programmed to only see certain things. So, the doctors can only go by what they are taught, number one, and what the machinery tells them, number two. And if the machinery is not programmed to see a particular thing, it's not going to see it. And then therefore that stands to reason that the doctor is not going to see it, or the doctor is not going to know. For me, yes, I was trained in a particular thing, in a particular methodology, but I've moved a little bit beyond that methodology. Not saying that I know everything by any stretch of the imagination. No, I do not know everything, but what I do know, and what God has gifted me with, the eyes to see what I see, it's a whole different level. It's a whole other approach and angle, and it's something I personally have not seen out there on the web. Now, I've seen a few people that have touched upon a few related, topics or subjects or aspects or approaches. I've seen people that I can definitely relate to, where I can say, yeah, you've got a piece of the puzzle and you've got a piece of the puzzle. And okay, and I'm not claiming that I've got the whole puzzle by any means, but the piece that I do have is freaking amazing. Um, and I say that because I'm astounded. I'm amazed that I've been given this gift, and that I've been allowed the privilege of helping other people with this. I personally have had pain in my life, and I think that is a factor of my knowing and understanding what I know. And to some degree, almost feel like in order for me to get more training on pain to share with you, or more understanding, I I might have to go through more pain, and it's not something I'm looking forward to. But I find that I seem to be a guinea pig for pain in some sense of the word. But it has helped my understanding. It has helped me to unravel a few things, a few mysteries about pain that I believe I can help you with. That I believe that I can help shed some light on what's going on in your body, and the things that's causing it to happen. I don't have all the answers, but I have figured out a few sources, a few origin points that I have not heard anybody else really saying or talking about. And so I'm here because I want to share them with you. The main point that I want you to understand is that whatever pain you feel manifesting in your body, it's not just a physical thing. It's not just happening. Even like I said, I've worked in medical centers for companies that handled injury accidents, PIP, and I watched their approach to the whole situation. And that's why I'm not working there now, because even when I worked in medical offices, I found fraud happening, a lot of fraud happening, wherein the doctors, not all of them, mind you, but a few that I've worked for, some of them are basically padding your treatment. And what I mean by that is they're not, first of all, the treatment is only symptom management. It's not really addressing the problem and what's causing the problem. And secondly, the symptom management is being padded, and it's being, what's the word I'm looking for? It's being lengthened. You're being milked. And not just you being milked. It's really the purpose of it is to bilk the insurance companies out of money. So the recommendations that people are being given are not only not helping them, but then they're being prolonged. Those recommendations and that treatment is being prolonged so that the medical business or the practice profits. And it's not helping anybody. And that's the thing that frustrated me the most when I started working for medical places. I stopped working for spas because people that go to spas, they want fluff. They want to feel good. You know, it's a little more of a emotional stimulus than anything else. It's not really for necessarily for health and wellness, although some people it is. But also because the massage industry has changed so greatly, and they've basically McDonaldized it. Massage used to be completely a health treatment and a wellness thing, and now it's just a luxury thing. It's just foof or fluff, as I call it. And people just want a rub down. I mean, a 5-year-old could give you a rub down. If you just want to have a little bit of somebody touching you and you feel good. But as far as really like getting at muscular problems and even structural problems and problems that are causing you pain, you know, it's for somebody that's directed and focused the way I am to work in a spa. There's a conflict because the spa is looking at numbers, number one, and they're looking at customer complaints. And there's a lot of customers that come in and they complain because they're trying to finagle an extra massage for free. So that environment didn't work for me. And I kept finding that I was getting let go, or, you know, being told that I wasn't a match for the establishment because frankly, I'm not a match. I'm not into fluff. I'm not into playing around and wasting time. I'm I knew innately at the age of 14 that I had a healing gift, and I'm trying to operate in it, and and educating you is part of that because I also have a gift for teaching. So I switched over. I left spa. I left working in spas and I went over to working for doctors and working in medical centers. And then I started seeing fraud. And my whole thing has been I'm here for the patient. I'm here to help this person that's suffering with pain. I'm here to alleviate it. And what I kept finding was a lot of these doctors, all they want to do is fill you up with shots, give you a bunch of prescriptions. They're getting kickbacks from these pharmaceutical companies for pushing these drugs. I saw a report up to last week about a doctor, a medical doctor that was busted. I think he looks like a Middle Eastern, Indian, Pakistani, something like that. And he was the head of this pharmaceutical company, and they were giving bribes and paying off doctors to recommend I believe it was a medication, or I don't think it was shots, but some kind of medication for the treatment of cancer. And they were bribing doctors and paying them to diagnose people with cancer who didn't have cancer so that they could give them this treatment. And it was just amazing. I mean, not that I didn't know that there was some sort of backdoor bribery going on between pharmaceutical companies and doctors. I was fully aware of that. But to the extent that this was happening, that it was reported in this article, that's what kind of blew me away. The full extent of it, the outright bribery that was happening, the fact that they were telling people, and I know this has been happening in the black community for a long time, where they've used black people as guinea pigs basically, And this is another methodology of destroying a race, is sitting there and treating the people of that race as if they have a disease that they don't have, and giving them uh, chemicals and the prescriptions and shots and things like that, sets or whatever you want to call them, giving them that stuff to treat a condition that they don't have. The same thing was occurring in these PIP centers, certain of these PIP centers, and I can't name the place, but the one that I worked for, it was happening there. There was discrepancies with there was discrepancies in what I was being told to do. They wanted to hire a bunch of massage therapists that were basically right out of school, who were green, who knew nothing. And that was not me. So I asked too many questions. And I saw too many contradictions in what the treatment was that they were recommending. There were certain aspects of it that was good. That was, like basic aspects of healing. But the manner in which they were doing it, how they were prolonging the treatment, that was unnecessary, because it was a lawsuit and they were trying to generate more of a payout from the insurance company, that sort of thing. That's what I'm talking about. Prolonging a person's pain, physical pain, because it suits your agenda, does not work for me at all. Does not work for me at all. So, I've even had chiropractors, or former chiropractors even, telling me that, like when I worked in this particular spa, there was a guy there that was a former chiropractor. And I was telling him about certain examples of muscular problems that I had treated. And I was saying to him that, usually I can eradicate a problem within like 1 to 3 days. Like 1 to 3 times you come to see me, depending upon the length of time you give me and the severity of the condition that you're in. That's going to determine how fast I can eradicate it. But I used to I used to be the 2-hour lady. They used to be amazed at me at this one spa that I was at, because they called me the upgrade queen. Like, I had people that the minute I laid my hands on them and they saw what I did, and they felt the relief and the difference in what I did, they immediately added time to their session. And so they called me the upgrade lady. And it wasn't because I was specifically pushing it as a selling point. It was because I was pushing it for the fact that this is going to help you. If you give me more time, I can really get in there and release this thing, as opposed to what most people want. They want you to do an all over body thing and then spend a little extra time on a particular area. That really prolongs the situation. It doesn't eradicate it. It doesn't really release it. It may give you a slight bit more relief, but it doesn't release it for a longer term. So I would say to the person, look, let's break this down. Instead of us trying to do like a whole body thing, like even in gyms, they try to do this, different aspects of working out. People are trying to do everything all at once. No, you can't approach it that way. So, instead of us working on your whole body, like you might have a whole lot of things going on and a whole lot of muscular problems that's in your body. But instead of us trying to do the whole body at one time or one session, let's break this up. Let's break this down, and let's get it really good. Let's really eradicate some problems here, and start to unlock some things that's been locked up and restricted for a very long time. So, as I was talking to this former chiropractor, I said to him, hey, I usually can knock out a pain problem in 1 to 3 days. And he was like, no, you got to keep them coming back. You got to, you got to milk them. And I was like, are you serious? I'm not here to milk these people. I mean, on a business level, it probably makes a little sense because you do want to have return customers. But I feel like this. Hey, if I do you a good service, if I take care of you, if I give you the best I can give you, and I help you, I really truly help you, and I eradicate your pain, and I educate you as to what you can do to keep or maintain that pain-free condition, you're going to recommend me. I'm not going to have any shortage of clientele or customers or business because you're going to be so freaking pleased with what I did, and you're going to be so free and so liberated from the problem that you had that you're going to be talking about me all over town. You're going to recommend me to everybody. And so the flow is not going to stop. I don't like these businesses where they sit there and they just keep milking you, and they're not really giving you any real solid information to help you to get to where you're trying to go or to get the resolution you're trying to get. They're giving you this, real basic stuff. When I start off with you guys, yeah, I'm going to be dealing with some basics because I got to be able to bring your understanding up. And if I don't touch upon some basics first, to just start to acclimate you to the perspective that I have and the understanding that I have, then you're going to be lost. I don't want to lose you along this path here. What I want to do is I got to break this down first of all and just get a basic understanding with you guys so that you know where I'm going with it, and the road that I'm traveling on. And sometimes the way that I explain things and the way I break things down, it may seem like I'm being really long-winded and I'm talking a heck of a lot, or I'm writing a lot if I'm putting something on a blog or website. It may seem like my article is lengthy or I'm just talking a lot, but there's a point. And also, I have a tendency to use a lot of etymology. I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's not entomology. Entomology is study of, I think, bugs or something. Etymology, what I'm talking about is the study of words. I'm very word focused because words are power. If you understand words and how to use words, you are a very powerful person. And so a lot of times when I explain things, I've got to break it down. I've got to give you definitions. I may give you several definitions because I want you to see it from several different angles. There's a different frame of thought that I want to bring into the picture, and I want you to really be able to understand the concept that I'm trying to bring to you. And sometimes what I've discovered in addressing pain is it's not one dimensional. It's not, it's that people look at pain as people look at a line. And I'm trying to use this to explain this to you. As people look at a straight line, that's how people look at pain. And it doesn't, the only way that line varies for people is the degree of pain. Like, when you see on a heart monitor where you see that line go up and bip, and it goes up and down, and okay, that's the degree in which people's line view of pain alters, is the degree of pain they feel that, that line will jump or it'll go down, or, according to their pain level for a particular moment in time. But when you have to approach a pain problem, there's angles to it. It's not one dimensional. There's not one approach. There's not one thing that's causing the pain. It's like when you have a car accident, it's not the accident alone, the impact that caused the pain problem you're having. The impact alone didn't cause the injury. It was a factor, and it was a big factor in the case of an accident, but it wasn't the only factor. And when the medical world, Western medical anyway, I can't speak 100% for Eastern because I only know my ballpark of that flows under Eastern. And all Eastern medicine and natural medicine and holistic, it's all different, varying degrees of kind of the same thing. So if you look at it even from that perspective, that's what I'm talking about. The approaches are different. You've got, in the world of natural medicine, you've got, for example, there are a lot of body maps, and a lot of you don't even know about these things. There are body maps. There are different maps in the natural holistic realm. There are different maps for the body. And these natural maps can tell a practitioner like myself where your pain is. It can help me to find your imbalance. So it's all being viewed differently. For instance, there's a map of the eyes. Now, a lot of people don't know that. There's a natural practitioner, a holistic practitioner called an iridologist, and that person can look in your eyes, look at your pupils, and read your body and tell you exactly what's happening in your body, like where your systems or your organs are struggling, where there's problems developing. They can look in your eyes and read it. Okay? Now, I can read certain things with the eyes, but I think the things that I read with the eyes are the more obvious things that any health practitioner worth their salt should be able to see to some extent. Natural health practitioner predominantly, but but the eyes tell you things. In acupuncture, the tongue is a map. The ears are a map. There's different maps of the body, and when you understand that, that's a different approach. That's a different angle of coming at the same problem. And the thing is that all of these maps match up. In other words, the maps are all going to say the same thing. The practitioner you go to, if they know their stuff and they're able to read those maps well. If you go to an iridologist, the iridologist is going to tell you the same thing that the acupuncturist is telling you, because the maps don't lie. Let's put it that way. These are innate systems that God put in our bodies to help us understand ourselves, to help us understand what's happening in our bodies, to help us treat the body. And all of these things play together. That's why I said it's a whole body thing. It has to do with your thinking. It has to do with what you believe. It has to do with what you do, your behaviors and your desires and actions based on those desires. All of these things play together, and they can cause manifestation of pain in the body. And that's why I say to you, there's so much for us to talk about. There is so much I have to share with you, and I'm so looking forward to it. But what really set me on this path of talking about all this with you at this moment is that I want you to understand the key to breaking through pain. The key is you have to move towards it. The reason a lot of people are suffering from pain and they continue to suffer from it is they avoid it. They run from it. And I used to be guilty of the same thing. I used to be the type of person where, let's say you took your index finger and you touched me on my quadricep muscle on my leg, the muscle in the front of your leg that goes over your knee. Okay, if you touched me on that muscle and I felt pain or discomfort or it hurt me in some way, I would say to you, that hurt, don't ever touch me there again. And that's how I used to be before I got into massage. Even though I was always researching natural health things, that's how I was about pain. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to experience it. And therefore, if you don't want to deal with it, if you don't want to experience it, if you don't want to work through it, you'll never be free of it. That's the key. You have got to face it. You have got to move towards it in order to break through it and move past it. And in that breaking through process, that's where it'll get excruciating. I just want you to know that right up front. You're going to feel it. It's going to hurt like hell for just a few minutes. When you get to the crux of that breakthrough, because there's a lot of leading up to the breakthrough, there's a lot of little pain that you feel, minor pains or lesser pains than what's at the crux or the heart of the problem, or at the, and as in regards to your body, at the physical point of the area of extreme pain, the area of highest, that's it, the area of highest intensity. I'm gonna call that the the AHI, the area of highest intensity. When you reach that point, see, because all the pain that you feel leading up to that point is lesser pain, is minor pain by comparison. But you have to go through all those little steps and all those little points of that pain in order to break through it. You have to address it at all those levels. And then when you hit that one area, that one point of greatest intensity, at that point, you're going to have to sustain and be able to stand up and bear with it for the equivalent in time of like 1 to 2 minutes, or maybe as long as 5 minutes. You're going to have to bear up under that level of extreme pain for just a few minutes. And once you bear up under that and you break through, you're through. You may have to, repeat certain aspects of the process just to make sure that you fully cleared that extreme level, because that's the heart of the problem. Okay. So it's like, when football players and they come on the field, they're coming in for a game and they've got that big like drum thing. They do this a lot at high school games, I think, or maybe college games, where they have this big, it's like a big circular thing with paper on it, and the guys like bust through it. Okay, so that is kind of what I'm talking about. Like all the way that paper thing, and I don't know what that thing is called. I'm just going to call it like a paper drum. Okay, so that paper drum that they break through, that's that punch through moment that I'm talking about. That's that excruciating area of greatest pain moment to come through. Okay. So if you look at it from the aspect of a football team coming through that, okay, when those guys are heading out, first of all, before they even head out towards that paper drum to break through, okay, before they even head out there, they're in the locker room, right? And they're getting built up mentally. Spiritually and mentally, they're being built up. That's the first stage. Okay. So their coach is in there and he's hammering whatever beliefs and practices that they have been doing all this time, whatever belief system they have, how they have set up their game plays and their runs, and, what they have practiced is part of what they believe. Okay, that's coming from their belief system. They know that this is a tried and true methodology, and if you practice in this manner, you build up strength and muscle in this particular manner, and this particular thing, and in this particular approach to how to address something offensively, how to address something defensively. You've built up a belief system, okay? And so under that belief system now, the coach is in the locker room with these guys, and he's reminding them, Okay, he's encouraging them and reminding them this is what we do, this is what we believe, this is who we are, and this is how we run our game. And we're winners, and this is what we do, and we're just going to get out there and do what we've been practicing all this time. We've been building up to this point. We know our game plan. We know what to do, how to do it, and we're just going to get out there in that game and do our thing. We're not going to play anybody else's game. We're going to play our game, and we're going to play as a team, and we're going to win. Okay? And he's going to be in that locker room, and he's going to pump them up. Okay? So that's like kind of what I'm doing with you guys. I'm in the locker room with you, and I'm just kind of, I'm going to be educating you because I'm running with you through all the practice stuff first. Okay, that's basically what I'm going to be doing as I'm trying to educate you on this. I'm going to be breaking it down and explaining it and educating you, showing you how pain manifests. That's the first thing. That's all the information that you're going to need to learn in order to start practicing how to eradicate it. Okay, so I'm going to be doing all of that and leading you up to the point of the game. All right. And the game is you actually taking that action and starting to eradicate and break through that pain. So when these guys are in the locker room now, coach is getting them prepped. And this is long before they break through that drum. Okay. And then after they go through their huddle and they do their, their encouragement chant or cheer, whatever it is you want to call it that they do, as I can't tell you that I know what those things are called. I just know they do it. But after they do this and they get in their huddle, they say their prayer. If they happen to be a team that prays, they say their prayer. And they start moving forward and heading out of that locker room. Now they're on that path and they're moving towards that breakthrough. Okay? And as they're coming out the locker room, they start like a hustle in a sense. They start moving a little faster. They start like jogging towards it because their mind is set. Like their mind already sees the results of their hard work and their practice, and they're educating themselves on what to do and how to do it and how to flow. Okay. And that education that I'm going to provide you with, in that they know, they understand. And so now they can start moving. And so that movement starts to pick up force. It starts to pick up speed because when you have clarity and understanding and you know what to do and you know what's causing the problem, man, I tell you what, you go because you're so encouraged. You're so on your game. You start moving forward because you understand. And so they start running now towards their destiny. In the case of what I'm teaching you, your destiny is being pain-free. But they start running towards that game now. They start running towards that challenge because they have an understanding of how to overcome it. And so they're heading in that tunnel. And this is this is such a great analogy because, guys, let me tell you, when you have a pain problem, you are in a tunnel of darkness, of misery, okay? These guys run, they start coming out of the locker room, they head into that dark tunnel, and they start running towards light at the end of the tunnel. You can only run towards the light when your paradigm has shifted. You can only run towards the light when your belief system has changed, because a paradigm shift only occurs when your belief system has changed. When what you know and what you understand has been altered. I talk a lot about programming and how to get out of the programming of this culture that we've been subjected to. It's a programming that enslaves. Okay, and I'm not going to get into it real big right now, but you'll hear me touch upon it as we progress. in different videos or different audios, you're going to hear me bring that up. But you cannot move out of a tunnel. You're going to be stuck in a dark place unless your mindset changes. And the only way your mindset will change is that you have to get new information in. That's why education is so important, and especially self-education is so important. People pick up a book, get online and do some research, look for some articles, find somebody on YouTube that's talking about something that's worth something, not foolishness, not, game playing and memes and vines. And, that stuff is for entertainment sake. It's a distraction. You can't get to the real point. You can't get any real understanding if that's what you're focused on. So, pick up a book, read something that's going to grow you as a person, because when that happens, your belief system, you're going to find something in there that's going to change your belief system. It's going to educate you on something you didn't know about, and your paradigm is going to shift. And when that happens, whatever dark tunnel you were in on whatever subject or topic or thing you were trying to do, whatever that tunnel was, where you couldn't see and you didn't have the vision or you didn't have the knowledge or the understanding, that's going to change. And it's going to take you one step closer to that light at the end of the tunnel. Now, in the case of the football players, these guys are running. So they're full. You know what I'm saying? They've got that knowledge of what they need to do and the whole game plan. They know what to do. They don't know for every situation that's going to come up, mind you. But, because every play is going to be different, slightly different, but the basic knowledge that they need to go out there and function well. And that's what this is about. This is about functioning. Okay? When you are in pain, you are malfunctioning. You are like a malfunctioning machine. Something's going wrong. And your functioning ability has been limited or restricted. And most of you that have severe pain problems, there are people around the world I've talked to in even message boards, okay, that have lost family, friends, jobs, marriages on account of pain, on the account of the fact that they cannot function. Okay, so this is about functionability. So when you have that functionability and it starts in your belief system and it translates into your mindset, that's why it's a spirit and a mind, and then it manifests in your body. So I really hope that I've got that part of it clear for you. When the belief system is off, it manifests into your mindset, and it then subsequently, because it translates into your thought patterns. And then your thought patterns dictate the actions that you take. And those actions can affect you for a lifetime. One thought, one misplaced or bad thought can affect you for a lifetime. But at the same time, one good thought can also change your path and affect you for a lifetime. Okay? So that's the point of it. Get yourself educated. Be proactive in growing who you are and in growing yourself. You don't want to sit on the same level, because that's stagnation. And stagnation can also cause pain. So you want to really educate yourself and address certain maybe fallacies within your belief system. And then that's going to manifest into your thought patterns. And then that's going to manifest into your actions that you take, which are going to be changed. That's why the paradigm shifts, because then your actions will be different. And then in your life, that manifests to a different picture of your life, a different path. It changes your path and alters it and brings you into a new arena. Okay? So these guys are running down this tunnel in the dark, maybe chanting, maybe encouraging themselves through some sort of chant or some sort of, I don't know what it is they call these things. I think of it as a chant. They may be singing. Who knows? I've only seen glimpses of something like this on TV. So they run down the tunnel, and they're getting themselves all hyped up. And as they suddenly burst into the light. So I want you to understand that even as we go through the process of eradicating your pain, and once I start to show you the exercises that you can do, that's going to start knocking this out. It's a process, just like this, like what I'm describing. It's a process because I have to educate you to understanding the causes of pain. Then I have to start educating you as to the type of movements, body movements, and things that you can do to start to eradicate the pain. And these movements are, I have to break it down, and I have to show you because there's so many factors involved in the movements, just like there's so many factors involved or variables involved in causing the pain in the first place. So it's not a, one time simple thing. Oh, you just, do this whole body series of movements. It's not like that. It's very, very different. Okay, so as you run, as these guys, these football players run out of this tunnel, they've come a long way already towards eradicating their challenge of the game they're about to play, okay, of overcoming. They've come a long way towards that overcoming place, okay, towards that victory. And they've been steadily moving towards that challenge. For every game, for every practice they do, they're steadily moving towards the challenge of each and every time they step on a field and play a game. Okay, so that's what I'm saying to you. You have to steadily move towards the problem. You cannot run away from it. You cannot run away from the pain. So they break out of this tunnel now they're coming into the light. And as they're entering the field, okay, and coming into the light, there's this drum sitting there. This big, and there's people holding the drum on both sides. And then the team, whoever's in the lead jumps through, they burst through the drum, and then all of them flow through the drum that's been burst through. Okay, so it's the same thing when I talk to you about the movements and the exercise to eradicate the pain. You doing that exercise one time is not going to cut it. Okay, and I had to explain this to one of my local clients that I work with. I teach locally classes, and I was talking with her, and it was just her and I yesterday. And, the group wasn't present. She showed up, I showed up, and unlike some instructors, they look at, there's only one person and they leave. No, me, no. I'm here because I'm committed, and you're here because you're committed. I'm staying. I'm in the game. If there's only one of you out there that's following me and that's getting this, I'm still here. I'm still committed. I'm following through. Okay? Because if I can help just one person, I've helped the world as far as I'm concerned. So these guys break through, okay? And they flow out. So there's a whole bunch of them going through. So that's like a whole bunch of multiple times that the action of breaking through has happened. I'm hoping you're understanding what I'm saying. For each person that goes through that drum, even though the initial paper part of it has already been busted, but for each person on that team, whether they're a water boy or they're the starting linebacker, every person on that team is part of the team. And every person that jumps through that hoop that had the drum, every person that jumps through is another breakthrough, another victory. Each person counts as another breakthrough and another victory in the span of the totality of the victory. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but just because you broke through on one level doesn't mean that you've completely broken through. Like breaking through could be, say, 10 levels to break your breakthrough. Okay? So even though you've reached the part of the breakthrough that looks like you've hit the finality of the breakthrough, that's not necessarily the case. I'm trying to think of a really good way to explain that, and but it's as if there was a hoop for every player, a drum for every player that passed through there. Now, there's not a separate individual one for each player to officially break the paper of. But the fact that all of them run through it is like a symbol or significant of every single person on that team breaking through that drum. Okay? The way the first guy did. Okay? So that's what I'm saying to you. When you reach the point, like there's certain movements to release muscle, okay, and to release pain. When you start off on those movements, you're not going to be able to do the full movement, okay? It's going to come in stages, and that's really what I'm saying. It's going to be stages of it, and it's a progressive thing, and it's going to hurt all the way along the path because you have a pain problem, you have a restriction, and we're trying to unlock it. Okay, so that's what I'm really trying to tell you, is that as you progress through the information and the knowledge, and then starting into the practice of eradicating pain, there's stages and there's levels and there's steps, but you're still moving towards that pain to eradicate it. And each level and each step, it's going to seem harder at first, and then it will seem easier. Okay? It's going to be hard to approach each new level. Okay? Especially when it comes to the physical aspects of doing this, of unlocking you. Okay? And what I'm basically going to be doing when I get to that stage of the education that I'm trying to give you is I'm going to be walking you through it. Like, I'm going to be physically on videos showing you what to do and walking you through it step by step, stage by stage, so that you can unlock your body. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when we hit certain stages of the development of your understanding and the development of your release, you're going to feel pain first. You're going to go, like, when I try to do this with my mother, you know, she'll do extend a limb to the point where she feels discomfort, and then she stops. Like, the minute she starts to feel any discomfort at all, she wants to stop. Okay? And granted, she's 80 something years old. She's, yeah, early 80s. Okay? But this, you can do this at whatever age. Okay? And whatever level you're at, you can do what I'm talking about. And I'm saying this to you because when I started developing this, I couldn't even turn over in my bed. That's how locked up I was. That's how bad my muscular condition was. I couldn't turn over my bed without Charlie horsing. You know? and I'm going to talk about that more later, but my point is that everybody's levels are going to be different. And this is what I tell my people in my local classes. Do what you can do. But all I ask is that when I ask you to do something, just give me a tiny bit more than what you feel comfortable with. You know, what your level of discomfort is that you can tolerate, just give me a tiny bit more. When I ask you to do it again, give me just a tiny bit more. A scotch, like I do it, I put my fingers up like a half an inch. You know, just give me a half an inch more. I'm just asking for baby steps here, because if you take those baby steps with me, you're gonna eventually get it eradicated. Okay, and that's why I say it's every single one of those guys going through that hoop represents a baby step, because the whole thing is the team going through the hoop. Okay, the unit going through that hoop. But each member represents a small facet of that change, of that development, of that new growth, of that new direction of being one step closer to pain-free, of having just a bit less pain in their life, or pain in that particular area or zone, or getting just a bit more movement back, a bit more functionality, a bit less restriction. That's what that scotch more, or that little baby step more, represents. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. You've got to move towards the pain, but you've got to move in baby steps. Okay, and hopefully that's the way I'm going to lead you there. That's my goal, because I'm not trying to overwhelm anybody. And I know that when you're facing a challenge like this, it seems like it's a mountain. It seems like it's not doable. And the pain can be so severe that it doesn't seem possible that you can eradicate it and you can control how how you function, that you can control that. But you can. I'm living proof of it. I'm witness of it. And the people that I'm teaching, I teach people in medical centers. I teach people in nursing homes, people who have been locked up for years, who have been stuck in wheelchairs, and they're regaining movement. And I'm not their physical therapist. I'm not actually moving them like they're not participating. No, I'm sitting in front of them, or I'm standing in front of them, and I'm teaching them the movement, or I'm laying in front of them, depending on which aspect of the exercise I'm doing and where I am and who I'm dealing with. But I'm in front of them and I'm demonstrating. And as I'm demonstrating, I'm explaining to them, this is why we do this. This is how this helps. Same thing I'm going to be doing with you guys, basically. Okay? Although I'm doing a lot of the explaining before we get to the physical aspects of it, just because I really need you guys to understand. And so I'm demonstrating to them, and they're mimicking my movement. And what they don't understand, like some of the people in nursing home, they don't know their right from their left. They don't understand if I say, turn this way or that way. Rotate, rotate forward or backwards, or they don't understand certain of those things sometimes. And so in cases like that, I have gotten up and gone to them and helped them, like showed them the movement physically. Here, let me take your hand and show you how to move. And that way, once I show them, or I place them in the position they need to be in order to do the movement, then they're able to do it. So this is what I'm saying to you. I'm going to be breaking all of this down. And I'm going to be going in baby steps. I want you to understand that, in baby steps, because I'm going to be talking to people, that are all on all different levels out there. Heck, I may be even talking to children. I've worked on children before. I've worked on children as young as 2 years old that were having pain. Okay. And yeah, I know perhaps some therapists out there, are like, what? Because a lot of therapists don't work on children. Massage therapists don't work on children. They're accustomed to working on adults or maybe teenagers. I've worked on babies, infants. And I'm not talking about just infant massage, like the standard infant massage. I'm talking about relieving pain problems. One child that I worked on, he was, at the time I was working on him, I think he was 3 when I started with him. And his brother was 2. And he had cerebral palsy. And I've actually worked on other cerebral palsy clients before. And they are such lovely people to work on, believe me. And this little boy, his structure was getting altered. His muscles, because of the cerebral palsy, were pulling in a certain way. And he would have pain. And so I would come and work on him, and his parents are, I'm still friends with them today on Facebook and everything. They're fabulous people, and I miss them. They moved out of my area recently, and I miss those children. I miss those babies. I miss their whole flow. Like, I just really love this family. And it was funny because I used to come treat the oldest child, and the little one would watch, and then he would come over and say, me too, I want to get and he didn't have the problem that his brother had, but he wanted what I was doing. He saw what I was doing, he saw the benefit, he wanted to experience it too. And once I started doing it with him as well, like, I just did that. I didn't charge them any extra to do this child, because I would just spend a few minutes with him and give him some love. So I I might have run over my time with them, but it wasn't an issue for me. I don't worry about running over time. My concern is addressing the need. So he needed me to massage him too, so I would massage him too, and I would just fit him in with the brother, And it was great, and I loved it, and they those two little boys just appreciated it so much, and they would hug me, and I just so loved doing that for them. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what age you are. I've worked on very elderly people, and I've worked on infants and everything in between. Okay? I've worked on children that parents didn't have a clue that when the child said, I'm having pain, that they were having pain. They were serious, and the parents didn't know, and they didn't believe their children. Don't disbelieve your children on something like this. When that child says they're having pain, yeah, they're having pain. And I've even had in my own life, I've even had a doctor tell me the pain that my son said he was having was psychosomatic. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I went to another doctor, and he was an older doctor. And the funny thing was, he he was an older doctor, close to retirement. His office was an older office. He had been there for years and years, and it showed. His equipment was old equipment, and it showed. But this man knew his stuff. Let me tell you, he knew his stuff. And he took the exact same set of x-rays that the younger doctor had looked at and said nothing was wrong with my child, and that it was psychosomatic. And this older doctor took the exact same set of x-rays and found the problem. And there was nothing different in x-rays, but it was the eyes. It was the eyes of each doctor. The older doctor had eyes to see. His training had probably been different than the newer doctor, who relies more on machinery. The older doctor relies more on experience as well. Okay? The older doctor was a little more hands-on, but he had experience under his belt, more experience, and he had eyes to see. That was key. And that's why he figured out what was going on with my son. And we were able to eradicate the problem. I'm telling you that I don't have a medical degree. And I don't work in some big fancy hospital. And according to the medical industry, I'm not worth listening to, or I'm not worth giving credit to, because I don't have a medical degree and I didn't spend eons in school. I went through some schooling, and we did have some degree of medical training in biology and physiology and all that stuff in my training as a massage therapist. Okay? But doctors will dismiss me like that because I'm a massage therapist. They think I know nothing. But you sat here and you've listened to me all this time. What do you think? Do you think I don't know what I'm talking about? Well, it's subjective. Grant you that. It's subjective. But I can tell you that God has given me a set of eyes and experience and knowledge and wisdom and understanding that a lot of doctors don't have. So I hope that you're encouraged to stick with me. I hope that you're encouraged to go on this journey with me and walk towards your pain and eradicate it. I'm excited. I'm thrilled to be able to help you. And I can't wait. I can't wait to start hearing from some of you guys that, whenever I have given you something that has really helped you, that has changed your mindset, that has changed your understanding, that has helped you to change some aspect of your life that has been possibly causing a pain problem. I'm looking forward to hearing that from you. And until I get another chance to talk to you again, hey, I'll see you soon. Take care. Be blessed.